was taught in high school how to hold on the football field and not get caught. To be honest with you, I was pretty good at it because I held every play, and I can only remember getting flagged once. I got to thinking, on the golf course, it's a lot different. So I've invited my buddy Jeff back, and we're going to talk about Rule 6 today, and about being a gentleman or a gentlewoman on the golf course and how the rules apply to golf. So keep it right here on Clubhouse Gas. Good morning and welcome to Clubhouse Gas. Today we're joined by our friend Jeff Holt. Jeff, thanks for joining us again.
Pleasure.
Jeff, we've talked in the past about your experience working full-time with your junior golf association, over 1,200 kids, but I've asked you back today for your experience and expertise as a rules official. Now, you've told me that you've been a rules official in amateur, college, and even professional tournaments, and I got to thinking, when I was playing football and baseball in high school, I'm just going to come out and say it, they coached us to cheat. I was taught how to hold and not get caught in football. The word deke is synonymous with baseball. Guy steals second base. He gets there. Shortstop's got the ball, tells him it was a foul tip. He steps off the bag. He's out. And I thought, you don't see a lot of that in golf. In fact, you really don't see any of it. And talking with a couple of people, I heard about this Rule 6. And I've asked you here today to talk about the rules of golf and maybe some examples of what's going on there. So first, why don't you start off by telling us about Rule 6?
Sure. If you look at the rules of golf and the etiquette and the culture of the game, it's written in a very specific manner, and it actually expects quite a bit of its the people who play the game of golf. And Rule 6 talks about the responsibilities that you have when you're a golfer. And like you said, when you play baseball or football or basketball, you just kind of go out and you play hard and you try to get what you can where you can. And there's either an umpire or an official or some sort of referee there to kind of catch you when you're doing things wrong. But on the golf course, it's actually much different. In Rule 6, the first thing that it tells you, it outlines the player, and if the player has a caddy, the player and his or her caddy is responsible for knowing the rules of golf. So if you violate a rule, it's your responsibility to call that rule on yourself. And there's a lot of historical stories from the past and just the general culture of the game that backs that up. A gentleman named Bobby Jones, who's actually from here in Atlanta, was a great amateur champion in the 1920s, won the Grand Slam, won 13 national championships in his career. He called a penalty on himself early in the tournament during the 1925 U.S. Open. Ended up in a tie for the lead at the end of the tournament and lost the U.S. Open the next day in a playoff. So everybody kind of flipped out and said, wow, Bobby Jones, you're the most honest person we've ever run into. Why would someone call a penalty on themselves and cause themselves to lose the U.S. Open? And his response to that was very short and quick. He said, you might as well praise me for not breaking into banks because there's only one way to play the game of golf.
Wow. And
that's kind of the essence of Rule 6. Following kind of in that same thinking, you're responsible also for turning in the correct score. So when you go out and play the first hole and you make a 4, you have to write down a 4, not a 3. Other games have people there to kind of help walk you through the scoring process. You have to be on time, which is a big part of golf. If you have a 9:10 tee time, you're expected to be there at the very latest by 9 o'clock. Otherwise, you're actually disqualified from the tournament. And those lessons kind of transcend life. And, if you have a 9 o'clock business meeting later in life when you're done with your junior golf days and working on actual meetings, if you have a 9 o'clock meeting, at the very latest you should be there at 9 o'clock. And that kind of applies in a lot of games. But golf is certainly very special in many respects.
What was the penalty that Bobby Jones called on himself?
He touched his golf ball and caused it to move, not during a stroke. And when that happens, the rules tell us that we have to replace it and call a one-stroke penalty. And his fellow competitors actually grabbed him and said, well, no, we didn't see it move. Are you sure that it moved? And he said, without a doubt in my mind, that golf ball moved. So it was a one-stroke penalty, and he ended up in a tie, like I said, and lost the next day. So
honesty to the utmost degree.
That's it. And I think the best analogy that I can provide, and I grew up playing a lot of baseball, and I love the game of baseball to this very day. I'm a huge fan of the game. But if you'd imagine the U.S. Open is like the World Series in professional baseball. A player maybe stealing second base, sliding in, the umpire calls him safe. But the player in his own heart knows that he was out. Would that player in the World Series stand up and say, well, you know what, I actually think I was out, I'm going to go sit down? And
No.
I don't think that would happen. And that's the culture of baseball, and that's fine. It's a great game, but golf's a little different, and sometimes you're your only referee out there. And when I meet people who've played tournament golf or golf in general, I know that I can generally trust them and expect them to be a very honest person. And, you know, we have scorecards in golf, and at the end of a round, you have to sign your name to that card, kind of saying that everything that's on this card is, in fact, what happened. And after you play a lot of golf, or tournament golf especially, you learn to respect the responsibility of making sure that that card is correct every time you turn it in.
We appreciate all that you do.
Thank you,
and thank you so much for joining us here. There you have it, folks. Get your kids out to play golf. It'll teach them many lessons beyond how to hit a flop shot. We'll see you next time right here on Clubhouse Cast.